Naruto, God-level system author, Blue Water God. Chapter 201. Is it still a single dog? Ueno-sensei, long time no see. Kushina greeted with a smile. Kushina has become beautiful. I almost didn't recognize the teacher. By the way, where's Mikoto? Ueno-shiri glanced around, but did not find Mikoto. Then Ueno-shiri looked at Rick Xianchen and said in a very bad tone, Chen, you kid didn't abandon Mikoto, right? How come? Mikoto didn't come. How could I abandon Mikoto? Xianchen looked at Ueno teacher speechlessly. Yes, your relationship is so good. Ueno-shiri scratched his head, his face a little embarrassed, looked at the Nawaki next to him, and quickly changed the topic. This is Nawaki's uncle. Come in quickly. Rick Xianchen and Kushina laughed again, especially Kushina, who couldn't even straighten up with laughter. What are you laughing at? Ueno-shiri was very depressed. Mr. Ueno, I am Shengshu. You taught me for so many years. When did you hear that I have an uncle? Shengshu said resentfully. Nawaki? Ueno-shiri was stunned for a moment, then shook his head and said, impossible. Didn't Nawaki die in the Second Ninja World War? Anyway, Ueno-shiri doesn't believe that this is Nawaki, not to mention that according to his understanding, Nawaki has been killed in battle. Just looking at Nawaki like this, Ueno-shiri also doesn't believe it is Nawaki. Teacher Ueno, he is really Nawaki, Rick Xianchen said with a smile, and at the same time told Ueno-shiri about the reason why Nawaki didn't die. It turns out that you were rescued by Chen, but why didn't you return to Konoha? Ueno-shiri finally accepted that it was a Nawaki. However, the question asked by Ueno-shiri made Roshu silent. Sensing that the atmosphere was a bit wrong, Ueno-shiri quickly changed the subject and said, how come you have changed so much, Nawaki? The Nawaki became more silent, and there was still a bit of sadness in the silence. Can he control something like appearance? Ueno-shiri looked embarrassed and comforted. You don't have to be sad about Nawaki, you just matured a little earlier, and it's not uncommon to be placed in the Kingdom of Thunder. That's right, Ueno-sensei is right, there are a lot of stupid people in Lzigo. Rick Xianchen patted Shengshu's shoulder to comfort. Nawaki almost spit out a mouthful of blood. Does this compare him to a big fool? Is he really stupid? Ahaha. Today, our teachers and students finally got together, and the teacher invites you to have a delicious meal. Ueno-shiri made a ha-ha, and he helped Shengshu, so that Shengshu could not think about it for a while and thought of suicide. Ueno-shiri is very happy today. It is good news for him that Nawaki is not dead. When he learned that Nawaki died on the battlefield, Ueno-shiri was alone for a long time. Mr. Ueno, are you still single now? Rick Xianchen asked. A thunderbolt hit Ueno-shiri, making his original good mood all disappear. Rick Xianchen. Ueno-shiri glared at him viciously. The three-word single dog hit Ueno-shiri's fragile heart with a knife. Looking at the teacher's expression, I know the answer. Rick Xianchen laughed. Ueno-sensei, are you almost 40 now? You haven't married yet. TSK. Kushina shook her head. Ueno-shiri felt a big blow. His heart seemed to be slashed by an invisible blade, and it was very painful. Nawaki and Ueno-shiri walked in the front. Xianchen and Kushina followed behind. The two of them didn't want to see this pair of loving dogs. When he came to the barbecue restaurant, Ueno-shiri also asked a little about the current situation of Xianchen and the others, and told them about Lukisa, Minato and the others. Tomoko is actually with that sissy? I can't believe it. Kushina's eyes widened. Ueno-shiri was speechless. Although Minato was a bit of a mother when he was a child, but now he is Konoha's famous little son. You go and find out. Half of Konoha knows Minato, and most of the little girls dream male god. Ueno-shiri said. Is Minato so famous? Nawaki asked curiously. He and Minato were at the same table. Of course, as an apprentice of Sennin, he has strong strength and a bright smile, so Minato's reputation in Konoha spread widely. Now Minato seems to have joined Anbu. I haven't seen him for a long time. Then Ueno-shiri looked at Rick Xianchen and said with a complicated expression, if Chen had not left Konoha, his reputation would have been greater, and he might have become the next generation of Hokage. Xianchen shrugged. Even if he did not leave Konoha, with his character, he would not become Hokage. Looking at the indifferent Rick Xianchen, Ueno-shiri shook his head and said nothing more. After eating and chatting for a while, Ueno-shiri left. He is now the vice principal of the ninja school, and his affairs are very busy. Yesterday, Sun Xianchen and the others did not find Ueno-shiri because he was busy with school affairs. Let's go back. Nawaki looked at Xianchen and Juxanai. Go back to the hotel by yourself. Juxanai and I are going to go shopping. Rick Xianchen refused. Then I'll be with you too, just to take a look at the wonderful scenery of Konoha again and see if Konoha has changed over the years. Nawaki said. Never mind. Why? Nawaki asked in amazement. Because we don't want to be followed by a big light bulb. I don't think you like eating dog food either. Rick Xianchen explained the reason. Forget it. Shengshu shook his head quickly. When he just ate the barbecue, he was fed a lot of dog food, but he didn't want to continue to eat it. Why did Shiri Ueno leave so quickly? Because he didn't want to continue eating dog food. Nawaki left by himself, and Xianchen and Kushina went to the street of Konoha. Compared with before, Konoha seems to be more prosperous now. Anyway, There are more people on the street than before. Chen, I want to eat takoyaki. Kushina pointed to the food stall beside him. But we don't have any money, so we can't rob it, right? Xianchen helplessly spread out his hands. Should he be asked to rob takoyaki? He hasn't dropped that much yet. But I want to eat it. Jukes and I looked at Xianchen with pitiful eyes. Seeing Kushina's appearance, Xianchen naturally softened, then reached out and took out 1,000 taels and handed it to Kushina. Didn't you say you have no money? Where did this come from? Could it be the private money you hid? Kushina asked with brand new banknotes. Do I need to hide money from my private house? Dukes and I, you are looking down on me. Yin and Yang can create all things. Let's understand. Xianchen said with a proud face. You're so irritating. You're as irritating as the masked kid you met at the noodle shop. Kushina snorted softly, and then bought a box of takoyaki. Forked one handed to Xianchen's mouth. Reward you. Xianchen opened his mouth to eat. How is it? Kushina asked expectantly. It's okay, but it's not as delicious as Mikoto's. Xianchen commented. Really? I'll give you all that. Kushina shoved all the takoyaki into Hyuga Tatsu's hands. Xianchen was speechless. No wonder he gave it to me first. It turned out that he wanted me to try the taste. Chapter 202. Open a ninja tool shop. Seeing that you are so prosperous, I can only find a way to make some money. Xianchen sighed helplessly, looking at the large and small bags in his hand. Can't Yin and Yang create all things? Do you still need to make money? Kushina turned around and said, I feel like this is meaningless, and this kind of money has no soul. Xianchen shook his head. Hey, hypocritical. Do you have a soul with stolen money? Kushina pouted. Xianchen was embarrassed by Kushina's words. Then how do you want to make money? Do you want to rob? Xianchen glanced at Kushina with contempt. With my Xianchen's character, how could I do such a shameless thing? Kushina was depressed. Who gave you the qualifications to make you despise me? Do you have character? Cough. I'm going to open a ninja tool shop. I was in a parallel world and got a lot of ninja tools. It's useless to keep them. Sell them. Xianchen said with a light cough. Steal or rob? Kushina asked lightly. Why are you talking so ugly? What was stolen? Obviously I took it. Xianchen said dissatisfiedly. The corners of Kushina's mouth twitched. Does this make any difference? Did someone else open the door for you to take it? Let's go. Go and make a storefront. He did what he said, and soon Xianchen used Yin and Yang to get a sum of money and found a store in a good location in Konoha's commercial street. I just said that the money created by Yin Yang Dun has no soul. Isn't it slapped in the face now? Kushina asked. Why don't you use such a convenient ability? Xianchen took it for granted. Jukes and I was speechless. Did all the words just said go to the dog? How can you be so shameless? However, Kushina also knew that Xianchen said that the purpose of opening a ninja shop was for fun, and maybe he opened a shop today and would not do it tomorrow. I didn't go back to the hotel, I just stayed in this store. The store is not small, with 2 floors up and down. Each floor has more than 200 square meters. The upper part is where I live, and the lower part is used to open a store. The next morning, Xianchen and Kushina had breakfast in the system space, and then called Mikoto out to help decorate the store. In fact, the decoration was done by Xianchen alone. Mikoto and Kushina were just giving their opinions. After all, women are better than men in decoration. In one morning, the decoration was completed. After all, there is a yin and yang escape, and what is needed will be created. Then after lunch, it opened in a low-key manner. Although the opening is very low-key, because the location of the store is good, it is also seen by many people. A new ninja shop has opened here. Why haven't I heard anything before? Who knows? It's none of our business anyway. We are not ninjas. We care about what the ninja shop does. The onlookers were discussing. What are you doing? Kushina asked suspiciously, looking at the busy Xianchen. Of course, I'm making billboards. The ones I put up before are too ordinary to attract anyone at all. How about the billboards I'm making now? Xianchen held up the billboard to show off his achievements to Kushina. I saw the image of Uchiha Madara on the sign, holding a dark and sharp sickle in the left hand, 16 sticks in the right hand, and a fan of flames on his back, which was very majestic. It also reads, everything has a ninja shop, and Uchiha Madara's family endorsement. How is it? With the name of Madara Uchiha, business should be very good. Sun Xianchen said with a smile. He wanted to spend Madara Uchiha. The name is too old-fashioned. Kushina complained. The name doesn't matter, it's old-fashioned. Xianchen walked out with the billboard, then removed the billboard with only a few large characters and replaced it with this one. After changing it, the effect is still not ideal. The name of Uchiha Madara doesn't seem to be very easy to use in Konoha. Xianchen was lying on the counter in a very salty way. Kushina and Mikoto returned to the system space. Now he is the only one in the entire store. It is very boring, and there is no one to chat with. When Xianchen was about to fall asleep, someone finally came to the store. Xianchen looked up, and then lay down on the counter again. Chen, why are you here? Shengshu asked in surprise. He was wandering on the street, and he was a little curious when he saw this ninja shop, and then he came in. Unexpectedly, he saw Xianchen. "It's weird that I'm here, shopping. If you don't buy it, you'll leave." Xianchen lay on the table and said lightly. "Why is the tone so aggressive? I heard that this store is newly opened. Did you open it?" Shang Shu said depressedly. "Nonsense, I didn't drive it. Could it be you?" Xianchen rolled his eyes and said, "I haven't seen you for a day, so you opened a ninja shop? You are amazing." Shang Shu gave Xianchen a thumbs up with a look of admiration. Seeing Shang Shu complimenting himself, Xianchen changed his original dislike, and looked at Shang Shu's eyes a lot more pleasing to the eye. "You don't know my ability yet. What does it mean to open a ninja shop every day? It's just a trivial matter to build a village every day." Seeing Xianchen's unassuming appearance, Shang Shu's mouth twitched. Seeing Xianchen want to continue talking, Nawaki interrupted him at the exit, pointed to the row of ninja tools and said, "Don't you want to introduce your products?" Xianchen, who was originally happy, immediately pulled his face down. "What are you introducing? These ordinary kunai and ninja knives are marked with prices. You can't afford real good things," Xianchen said with contempt. "How do you know that I can't afford it? I have money now." "He, I gave you all your money. Don't I know how much you have?" "This flame fan from the Uchiha family costs 1 billion tals. Can you afford it?" Xianchen took out a big fan, put it on the table. Shang Shu's face turned red, and he really couldn't afford 1 billion tals. "This fan is a little better than the ordinary fan. It sells for 1 billion yuan. You are cheating." Nawaki said loudly that he really couldn't accept the price of 1 billion tals for a fan. "Ignorance, you are still a member of the Kainzu family, and you don't even know the treasure of the Uchiha family." Hyuga 2.8 Chen glanced at Shang Shu and said. Shang Shu walked around the shop in Xianchen depressedly, and found that the quality of the ninja tools here is really good. They are all high-quality items, and the price is okay. Roshu took 10 kunai and 5 shuriken. "It's taking care of your business, so I'll settle the bill." 10 pieces of fine steel are worth 10,000 tals, and 5 lily swords are 7,500 tals. "Seeing that you are the first customer in my store, I'll give you a discount and count you 18,000 tals. Is that so?" "I think my math is still okay." Shang Shu looked at Xianchen with a blank expression, adding up to only 17,500 tals. "If you discount it now, it will be 18,000. "Fooling a ghost? Stop talking nonsense and pay the money quickly," Xianchen said impatiently. Shang Shu paid the money depressed and said angrily, "If you do this business, it will close within 3 days." Chapter 203 Store Bullying. "There's a new ninja shop here, but the name is really stupid," Mitsurai Redbin said in surprise. "Uchiha Madara endorsement. Who is Uchiha Madara? Are you from the Uchiha family?" Asma asked Uchiha Obito. The name Uchiha Madara is very unfamiliar to them who are just entering school. "Uchiha Madara is the senior of our Uchiha family. He is very powerful. Legend has it that he is comparable to the original Hokage-sama, but he has been dead for a long time. It is estimated that this shop is deceiving people under the banner." Uchiha Obito pouted. "Go in and have a look." Hongda ran into the ninja shop first. "Don't you want to eat barbecue first?" Speaking of barbecue, the corners of Oita's mouth drooled. As an orphan, he didn't have much money, so it was only enough for him. Today, Asma invited them to eat barbecue, and Obito was very excited. How could he go to this gimmicky ninja shop? But Asma and the others had already entered, and even Lin, whom he had a crush on, had entered, and Obito had no choice but to enter the store. 12 Hearing someone coming in, Xianchen, who was communicating with Shang Shu, turned his head and glanced at them, and then lost interest. A group of 5 or 6-year-olds, how much money can you expect them to have? "Huh? Isn't this the handsome big brother we met that day?" Hongda reached out and touched Turi Hong, and said in surprise. Also surprised were Nohara-rin and Obito. They were also surprised when they saw Xianchen. Of course, Nohara-rin was surprised, and Obito was unhappy. "Someone is here. Why don't you go to entertain?" "A group of children can't afford expensive things. Just let them choose." Xianchen leaned lazily on the chair. Seeing Xianchen's lazy look, Shang Shu said, "I think you are lazy, so don't make any excuses." Hyuga Tatsu did not deliberately lower his voice, so Sarutobi Asma, Uchiha Obito, and the others all heard Hyuga Tatsu's words. Immediately, they felt unhappy in their hearts. Are they looking down on them and thinking that they have no money? "Take out the most expensive thing in your store, I want to buy it," Sarutobi Asma said proudly, and at the same time he glanced at Yuka Kane secretly, but unfortunately, Yuka didn't look at him, which made Sarutobi Asma was a little disappointed. Originally, Sarutobi Asma wanted to pretend to be a force to impress his sweetheart. Unexpectedly, the sweetheart didn't look at him at all, but instead looked at the abominable ninja shop owner. You can't afford it." Xianchen glanced at him lightly, with contempt in his eyes, and then Xianchen looked at the others. Looking at the outfits of the group and their slightly familiar appearance, Xianchen can also guess their identities. Like the great apes, this kid who clamored for him to take out the most expensive things must be Asma Sarutobi, the son of that old guy from the 3rd generation. The old guy from the 3rd generation is almost 50. Unexpectedly, there is also the 5-year-old son of Asma. "Why can't I afford it?" Take out the most expensive thing and take a look, Sarutobi Asma said unconvinced. Xianchen glanced at him lightly, and then a golden sword of light appeared in his hand. The same Dankun Yunjian of the most handsome Xianchen in the ninja world is priced at 1.5 billion. Who is Xianchen? Hongdu asked curiously. I am Xianchen. Xianchen smiled and pointed to himself. Everyone looked at Xianchen speechlessly. The ninja world is the most handsome, really narcissistic, but there is indeed capital, a few little girls thought in their hearts. And Asma and the others were very upset. How can this flashlight-like sword be worth 1.5 billion? You are clearly a murderer. My father is Hokage. I want to tell my father and let him close your shop, Asma said angrily. It's no use telling your father. My Xianchen's knife is worth this price. If you don't have money, don't ask questions. It's a shame. Asma's face flushed red. That big brother, this is your kunai. No. Harem took out a delicate kunai from the ninja bag and handed it to Xianchen. Xianchen shook his head. Since it's given to you, you can take it yourself. If you don't want it, give it to someone else. For example, these three little lili next to you. Xianchen smiled at Mitarai Red Bean, Yui Red, and Yuzuki Yuan who were next to him, making the three little lili blushed. Seeing this, Shengshu pulled Xianchen on his body and whispered, You guy, shouldn't you be interested in these little girls? Xianchen glanced at Shengshu with disgust. I'm not a pervert. Then why are you smiling at them? I rarely see you smiling at me, Shengshu said resentfully. Xianchen got goosebumps, hurriedly shook off Nawaki's hand, and took a few steps back in disgust. Could it be that Kushina really guessed that this guy Roshu really has a perverted hobby? He also stared at me, a handsome man. At this moment, Xianchen had the idea of turning him into ashes. Why are your eyes so unfriendly? Is it because I told you that? I knew you were a perverted Loiken. Shengshu shouted loudly. At this moment, Xianchen could clearly feel that the people in the store looked at him differently. The expressions of the little girls were shy, while the little devils were contemptuous and vigilant. At this moment, Xianchen really wanted to kill the Nawaki guy, and his glorious image was completely destroyed. What are you doing? Do you want to hit me? Shengshu looked at Xianchen vigilantly. Ha tilde, I didn't expect you to be a little self-aware. Xianchen sneered, and then smashed the Nawaki out with one punch. Whatever you want to buy, hurry up. If you don't buy it, get the out of here. It's you bastards. Xianchen yelled at Asma and the others with a bad face, and then changed a soft smile to the four little lili. Xianchen treats men and women with different standards. Yes, Xianchen is a double standard dog. How can there be a shop owner like you? Do you still want to bully customers? Sarutobi Asma grimaced. His identity is equivalent to the prince. In Konoha, everyone does not say that everyone is respectful, but he will also give him a bit of face. Actually, 3 generations of face. Ouch. You really think of yourself as a god. Since you said that my shop is deceiving customers, is it worthy of your words if I don't do it? Xianchen had a cold smile on his face. This Danking Yunjian, you can buy it if you buy it, or buy it if you don't. Xianchen waved the sword on Asma Sarutobi's neck. I'm asking you, do you want to buy it? Xianchen released a slight murderous aura, but just this murderous aura almost scared Sarutobi Asma into peeing. The icy cold air enveloped him, and the other party was as terrifying as a demon. Asma Sarubi knelt down with a plop, and he was already petrified. Buy or not? I buy, Sarutobi Asma said with tears, and was frightened to cry by Xianchen's cold murderous aura. Chapter 204 Edbin, Asma is pitiful. What does it have to do with me? Boom. 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 Come in. Hearing the knock on the door, Sarutobi, who was working, said without raising his head. The door was pushed open, and a ninja wearing a cat face mask walked in. After bowing to Sarutobi, he said, 3 generations of Hokage-sama. Xianchen opened a shop in Konoha Commercial Street. Huh? Sarutobi Hisan finally raised his head and said indifferently, didn't I say that as long as he doesn't do things that harm Konoha, don't care about him? But your son Asma entered his shop, and there seems to be a conflict. Anbu Ninja said quickly. What? Sarutobi Hisan stood up abruptly, hearing the news. He couldn't sit still, not caring about anything else. He hurriedly left the Hokage office and rushed towards the Commercial Street. 3 Hokage-sama, I haven't told you the address yet. The Anbu shouted quickly, but Sarutobi Hisan couldn't hear him. In Xianchen's ninja shop, the atmosphere froze for a while, and Asma Sarutobi knelt on the ground, crying unsatisfactorily. Others did not dare to speak at the power of Xianchen. Suddenly Xianchen put away his aura, looked at Sarutobi Asma with a smile on his face, and stretched out his hand to help him up. What are you doing? The customer is God. There is no reason for the customer to kneel. If this spreads out, it will be bad for the reputation of my shop. Xianchen said with a smile on his face. This little brother really made a lot of money. I sold Kong Yunjian to you for 3 billion today, which is really cheap. Isn't it 1.5 billion? Sarutobi Asma was stunned for a while, then came back and said angrily, doubled it all at once. That was slaughtering him as a pig. That was before, and now the price has risen. Don't you want to buy it? Xianchen's gentle smile gradually solidified, His eyes were cold. "No, no, I'll buy it," Sarutobi Asma said sullenly, and at the same time decided that he must tell his father about this and seal the shop. Ha ha ha. "That's right, although the customer is God, but for me, only the person who actually bought the thing is God." Xianchen laughed. "It's really bullying." Yuri Hong looked at Xianchen, feeling that he was going too far, and at the same time despised Asma, and she was humiliated when she was frightened. So handsome, really handsome, the way he bullies people is so handsome, I will bully people like him in the future. Hongda looked at Xianchen with longing. From today onwards, this handsome guy will be her whole life the idol. Kurena Yui looked at Maita washing red bin speechlessly. Her three views seem to be crooked, right? Don't you think it's abhorrent? Don't you think Sarutobi Asma is pitiful? Hong Yui decided to break back the distorted three views of red bin. "I don't feel bad." "What does it have to do with me being pitiful?" Asma Sarutobi Anko asked in confusion. Yui Hong is speechless. "What you said makes sense, but I am speechless." No. Haruin shook her lips, then stepped forward and said softly, "Big brother, what you are doing is wrong." "How do you know I'm wrong?" No. Harulin was at a loss, not knowing how to answer. "Xianchen, have you been reduced to bullying children now?" A deep voice came. When Sarutobi Asma heard this voice, he immediately became excited, turned his head to look at the door, and shouted excitedly, "Father, I said, call me 3 generations of Hokage outside." Sarutobi hasn't taught me a lesson. At the same time, he looked at Asma carefully, and when he saw that he was not hurt, his heart was completely put down. "I am reduced to a beggar, and I am also Xianchen." Xianchen said lightly, "This is the knife your son bought. I don't think he can afford it either." "You came just in time." "Pay him." "Father, the 3 generations of Hokage, this is completely his extortion. He actually costs 3 billion for a knife." "You quickly seal his broken shop." Sarutobi Asma shouted loudly. Because his father, the 3 generations of Hokage, came, Sarutobi Asma's confidence came back. "Shut up." His and Sarutobi glared at Sarutobi Asma. If it wasn't for him, what would have happened? He must be taught a good lesson after returning. Sarutobi Asma looked aggrieved. Even though he was bullied, his Hokage father didn't help him, and even scolded him. 3 billion is too expensive. Sarutobi Hizen frowned. "Anyway, your son bought it," Xianchen said roguely. Sarutobi Hizen was silent for a while, and then said, 3 billion will be delivered to you soon. He really doesn't want to have a conflict with Xianchen, so if he suffers, he will suffer. Pinched his nose. "The Dankun Yunjian is yours. Welcome to come again next time." Xianchen threw the Dankun Yunjian in his hand to Sarutobi Hizen, and said with a smile. Sarutobi Hizen didn't say a word, glanced at the Amazumi Yunjian with golden light in his hand, then stretched out his hand and grabbed Asma Sarutobi and left. After Sarutobi Hizen left, Mitarayanko and the others breathed a sigh of relief. The momentum of the 3 generations of Hokage just made them not dare to breathe loudly. At the same time, they also admire Xianchen, who can be so calm in the face of the 3 generations of Hokage. "What are you looking at? Do you want to buy it too? I'll sell it to you at a cheaper price." An identical Dankun Yunjian appeared in Xianchen's hands again. This, isn't it already given to the 3 generations of Hokage-sama just now?" Kurena Yui, Yukai Huabato and the others were already stunned, and even Kakashi, who had been silent for a while and was incompatible with other people, had a look of consternation in the eyes of the dead fish, who stipulated that there is only one Dankun Yunjian. "As long as you want to buy it, I will have as many as you want." A Dankun Yunjian also appeared in Xianchen's other hand. Dankun Yunjian is just the name of a move of glitter fruit. To put it bluntly, Dankun Yunjian is compressed with photons, and there is as much of this kind of thing as Xianchen wants. Moreover, in the hands of others, the Dankun Yunjian will only become weaker, and finally completely disappear into photons. After all, Dankun Yunjian will continue to consume energy. Because Xianchen has a high degree of development of the glittering fruit, this process can last for about 10 years if it is not used. If it is used, it is uncertain. A group of little devils looked at Xianchen with contempt. In their eyes, Xianchen was cheating, and he even dared to sell it at such a high price. It was just crazy for money. Seeing a group of little devils who didn't understand, Xianchen shook his head. His Dankun Yunjian could now cut off the divine tree. Even if the time to use it was limited, it was definitely worth 3 billion. "You little bastards, if you don't buy it, go out, including the 4 of you little lili." Xianchen waved his hand and issued an order to evict the guests. "I want a good knife. I don't know if you have it here." Hatake Kakashi, who has always maintained a high cold appearance, said lightly. Chapter 205 Isn't rebellion a ninja? "If you want a good knife, what price do you want?" Xianchen had an interesting smile on his face. "If I can take out 100 million, what kind of knife can I get?" Hatake Kakashi asked in silence for a while. 100 million. Xianchen rubbed his chin and thought for a while, then took out a knife that Hatake Kakashi was very familiar with. "Is this a white-toothed short blade?" "How can you have a white-toothed short blade?" Hatake Kakashi's icy look could no longer be maintained, and asked in shock. "Is this important?" 100 million can only buy the white-toothed short blade. Do you want it? Ruxianchin chuckled, and then put the white-toothed short blade on the counter. Hatake Kakashi reached for it. He was sure that this short knife was definitely a pirated copy, and the real White Fang short blade was in his father's hands. However, he took it over and looked at it for a long time, and he didn't see any difference from the real one. It even seemed that the short blade was more real. Hatake Kakashi glanced at Ruxianchin, then entered the thunder attribute chakra. A flash of thunder light flashed, and the penetrating power of the originally sharp blade became stronger. Hatake Kakashi swung hard and slashed the counter with a short blade of thunder light. With a crisp sound, there was no scar on the counter. You should be glad that my counter is specially made, otherwise you should go to the hospital to sell blood now, Ruxianchin said lightly. Looking at the undamaged wooden counter, Hatake Kakashi frowned. It can't even chop wood. This knife must be fake. Uchiha Obito shouted loudly. You can't talk nonsense. If you stick your head out, I'll give you a knife to see if it's true or not. Ruxianchin once again took out a short white-toothed blade and gestured at Uchiha Obito, who was frightened and quickly shrank his head. Hatake Kakashi frowned even more, and said coldly, why do you have so many short white-toothed blades? Ruxianchin raised his eyebrows, feeling that the current Hatake Kakashi, just like Urzuzi's character, was very rude. Little devil, this is now. If it was a few years ago, the person who dared to speak to me like this would be taller than you. Wow, so handsome brother was very powerful back then? Mitrai Redbin stared at Ruxianchin tightly. Ruxianchin smiled proudly. Of course. I was the legendary leader of the ninja world at the beginning. No one dared to obey the order of the ninja world. Even the 3 generations of Hokage had to look at my face and act. When I stomped my foot, the whole world would tremble 3 times. Ha ha tilde the corners of everyone's mouth twitched. This is a bit nonsense. Where did the Ninja World Alliance Master come from? Did you seal it yourself? Seeing that everyone didn't believe it, Ruxianchin said lightly, ignorance, if you don't believe me, go out and find out my name. Ruxianchin. No one in the whole shinobi world knows. No one knows. We don't know, Honda said softly. Ruxianchin's mouth twitched, and then he coughed twice. That's why I said that you are ignorant, and you have never even heard of my reputation. After you go back, ask your parents, which one of them is not trembling under my prestige. It's the same as the truth. I almost believed it. Uchiha Obito pouted. I believe. So Ruxianchin, can you teach me? Xiaolili, who had not spoken, looked up at Ruxianchin, with admiration and worship in her eyes. If it is said that the only person who knows Ruxianchin among the people is Xiaolili, Moyuxian, because his father is someone who has seen Ruxianchin's strength and is a crazy admirer of Ruxianchin. He often talks to Moyuxian about Ruxianchin. Matter. So under the influence of her eyes and ears, Moyuxian also became a small fan of Ruxianchin, but she didn't expect to see Ruxianchin, so she never reacted. Xian, are you crazy? He is a small boss of a ninja shop, not even a ninja. You actually worship him as a teacher. Guang Gaving coughed a few times. Ruxianchin looked dissatisfied at this moonlight blast, who had been a tuberculosis since he was a child. Ha ha tilde ignorant kid, actually said that I'm not a ninja. It seems it's time to prove it to you. Ruxianchin took out his former ninja forehead. Have you seen it? I'm a famous rebel, and dare to say that I'm not a ninja. Open your dog's eyes and see, isn't the rebellion a ninja? Ruxianchin said proudly. Everyone was startled, but they didn't expect Ruxianchin to be a rebel. Cough cough, you are a Konoha rebel, how dare you? Cough, open a shop in Konoha. I want to tell Hokage-sama to arrest you and see how arrogant you are, Moonlight Gale said while coughing. Ruxianchin was a little worried when he looked at him like this. He wouldn't be able to get up in one breath, then hang up. Ruxianchin didn't care about his life or death. What he was worried about was that Guang Gale died in his store. On the first day he opened, someone died in his store, which was unfortunate. After hearing this, Moyuxian's expression changed. She glared at Moonlight Gale, and then looked at Ruxianchin worriedly and said, Master Ruxianchin, are you alright? I didn't expect you to be good, so I'll accept you as a disciple. Ruxianchin said in surprise, but he didn't expect this little Lily to be his own die-hard fan. In fact, Ruxianchin is still very surprised when he sees Moyuxian now. According to the original book, Moyuxian should have just been born. Really? Moyuxian looked excited. But at this time, there was someone more excited than him, and that was Moonlight Blast. But he couldn't breathe right now, and he couldn't speak at all if he wanted to. Master Ruxianchin, do we want to leave Konoha quickly? After being excited, Uxian asked nervously. No need. Didn't you see that the previous 3 generations of Hokage didn't say anything? Ruxianchin reached out and patted Uxian's head, feeling that this little Lily was a little stupid. That's good. Moyuxian nodded her head. And the breathless Moonlight Blast, and others were stunned. 3 generations of Hokage know that you are a traitor. Why didn't you take you away? Yuka asked curiously. Why did I answer your question? Is it because you are a little Lily? Ruxianchin said lightly. Kurenai stomped her feet angrily. Don't talk about those useless ones. Do you want to buy this short knife? Ruxianchin looked at Hatake Kakashi. Hatake Kakashi stroked the blade, touched the blade lightly in his hand, and the sharp cold light left a gap on his finger. From this, Hatake Kakashi also judged that this short knife should not be fake, but I don't know how the other party got so many White Fang short blades. In fact, the short blade of White Fang was created by Haixianchen with yin and yang, and its power is the same as that of Hatake Tsukumo, even stronger. As long as it is not the six-way tin stick and the flame fan, which are of extraordinary materials, the creation by Xianchen with yin and yang escape will not be weaker than the original. However, the ninja tools such as the 6 tin sticks and the flame fan are only 80% powerful at most. Even if they are made, the materials are different from the genuine ones. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.